Joining me now, Democratic Tennessee Congressman Steve Cohen. He is a senior member, in fact, of the House Judiciary Committee and chairman of its subcommittee on the Constitution, Civil Rights, and Civil Liberties. Welcome back to the broadcast. Always good to see you. Tell me how you see this next week playing out.
I think it's going to be very difficult for the Democrats to win with the jury they have. They're going to make a compelling case. There's not a more compelling case that could be made than for trying to overthrow the government, disrupt the Constitution and the performance, Congress performing its duties on the Electoral College and what Trump did. And the facts are clear, but you've got a jury of senators, 50 of whom are Republicans, and to get 34% of them is going to be next to impossible. They've got their minds closed and they're blinded to the truth.
But, you know, when you describe it that way, Congressman, when you say that it's very apparent and that, I mean, look, we've all seen the videos. We all heard the words of Donald Trump, seen the subsequent actions for months, let alone what happened before the Capitol riot on the 6th of January, what we're looking at right there. How is it that you think these senators will not look at the truth, the reality, as you describe it, and vote to convict? Why don't they do it?
They still have a base that is of their party that is filled with QAnon, 3%ers, boogaloos, Proud Boys, and every other ilk that Mel Brooks could possibly conceive of to be the people to go into to Red Rock and invade. They are a nasty crowd. And there were Nazis, neo-Nazis, nasty crowd. They are the base of the Republican Party today. And they don't want to lose their base, and they don't want to be subject to an attack from the right in a primary. Now, I'm shocked there's enough of them that don't come up till 4 or 6 years from now. You'd think they would have some courage, but they don't seem to have it. They're still the party of Trump, and they still are the party of invertebrate party of Trump.
So the second trial is going to look a little bit different than the first one. Trump's legal team says it may be using some video from protests from last summer. You remember the Black Lives Matter protests in the wake of the death of George Floyd and beyond. Democrats are planning to use images from the insurrection. How concerned are you that this trial is going to get ugly?
Well, it's going to get ugly. Anything to do with Donald Trump gets ugly. Everything to do, I don't know what they're going to do with Black Lives Matter and George Floyd. In the George Floyd case, there was a policeman who killed an American citizen illegally. In this case, there were Trump supporters who killed policemen illegally. The comparison is not there. There's no whataboutism. And they're going to depend on procedural grounds because the facts are against them. This was an invasion of the Capitol. This was an insurrection, and it was set off by Trump. Trump, early in December, said, come to the Capitol. It will be wild. Yeah, what is wild about a protest? People don't come to a protest with camo gear, helmets, baseball bats, hockey sticks, and bear spray. They come for the purpose of invading the Capitol, and they did it, and they knew it on chatter. Trump had at least a dozen, and more so, people who monitored those emails and those social media sites, and they knew from that they planned to come here and to take over the government, to disrupt the Electoral College. Trump doesn't quit, and as Michael Cohen says, Trump speaks in code. He never says what directly. He speaks in code.
Well, I don't know about that, because he did say flat out, you know, that everyone needs to fight like hell, basically, on his behalf. So there's that. But this impeachment trial, I mean, look, Congressman, how divided this country is right now. Do you worry that it's going to create a further divide?
I think the Republicans are so far from coming to grips with reality and to the needs of the American public and to get free of Trump that it's going to be impossible for us to unify with them. We've seen it simply in the month we've had since this Congress has been in session. They've attacked Nancy Pelosi. The Taylor woman has called all the Democrats and the 11 Republicans who voted, or the 10 or 11, however many it was, to put her out of her committee assignments, morons. She is somebody who they stood up and applauded in their conference. Kevin McCarthy has shown that this is the party of QAnon, the conference of QAnon, and you can't work with people who's not going to stand up and say there are not fine people on both sides. The fine people on both sides in Charlottesville, the bad people that were there with the Nazi slogans and the Jews will not take our place, supplant us, and the rebel flags. They were the people who invaded the Capitol. They're the people Trump encouraged. They are the people that are the base of the Republican Party.
You mentioned Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Do you think removing her from her committees is enough? I mean, there are some who believe that she should be expelled from Congress. Where do you stand on that?
I support Jimmy Gomez's resolution to expel her from Congress. Anybody, now she says those things aren't true, that she believes 9/11 happened. Wonderful. That's like saying you believe that the earth is round. The fact that she believed it at one point questions her ability to discern reality, and you should at least have the ability to discern reality and speak the truth to be in Congress. She doesn't have that. The fact that she said just recently that there were the Rothschild created lasers from space that caused the fires in California. I mean, yeah. Rothschild and Soros is code for Jew. And people that use the Jewish people as scapegoats for problems in society do not belong in a civilized society. And she is one of those people who has done that. And how the Republican members countenance that is beyond me.
All right. Well, Congressman Steve Cohen, always coming on and speaking your mind, for which I thank you so much. We'll see you again.